Hello all you Pixel people, I am Pixel and I thought that I would share with you guys my opinions on Call of Duty Ghosts for the PC. Well, Activision, Infinity Ward, why have you forsaken me? I love Call of Duty 4 so much that I put Modern Warfare 2 down to a simple failed experiment. I then went and put Modern Warfare 3 down to the fact that you guys were having so many issues within the team that it may have just messed up the development a little bit. This time, however, I am holding you wholly responsible for this mess of a PC port. Okay, so now we're going to break it down a little bit, so let's start off with the graphics. The lighting engine looks like it's been dragged kicking and screaming straight out of 2007, and while the textures look good at a distance due to the extreme sharpening, up close they just look muddy and blurry. God knows what that 30GB install was used for, but it was certainly not for uncompressed textures. Saying that, some people seem to like blur. If you're one of those people, you will be happy to know that Ghost contains a fair amount of lockdown sights depth of field blur, and the effectively trademarked every time you die we will blur shit up kind of blur. Honestly, it is obnoxious. I kinda believe that it was just used and overblown to kinda hide the mediocrity of the graphics in Call of Duty Ghosts in general.
You two are going to no man's land.
If I was to be completely honest with you guys, the graphics would not be such a big issue if they at least ran smoothly. Instead, we've got this really strange 92 frames per second frame limit that causes this hellish stutter every time you touch and leave the cap. Saying that, if you're playing on medium settings, you're still going to be struggling to hold on to that cap in most situations, even if you've got a really decent system. The multiplayer just seems really unoptimized, sluggish and clunky, an issue certainly not helped by the fact that your FOV is locked to 65 degrees. On a side note, you can change that field of view using a third party tool like I have done in this gameplay. However, you are risking a VAC ban, and I really feel nervous doing so because I don't want to risk my 500 game Steam library on fixing an issue with a game. On top of that, just look at how I have to play the game to get even semi-decent performance. Ew, it's ugly. You know what makes this all the more crazy? It's the single player. While affected by low resolution textures, poor lighting quality and all the blurs, it actually looks pretty decent. Also, strangely, the single player is not affected by the 92 frame cap, and in general you will find yourself having a much better frame rate. Something that blows my mind even more when you consider just how good the single player environments look in comparison to the multiplayer, never mind the pure size and scale of some of them. What's even worse is I've only just managed to scratch the surface when it comes to my issues with the graphics and performance. I've not even had time to mention the horrible mouse acceleration which comes and goes at random intervals, or the fact that you are not able to use any screen overlaying software such as Origin, Steam, Fraps, anything which puts anything on top of the screen because it will totally negatively impact your frame rate. On top of that, if you're using a multi-card setup such as SLI or Crossfire, you're going to have to turn it off. Because as soon as you activate SLI or Crossfire, you're going to be getting some hella micro stutter, which will basically leave the game unplayable. Anyway, that's enough about the graphics, let's move on to the gameplay. While Call of Duty Ghosts pretty much sticks to the same formula as in the previous titles in the franchise, this time it feels like there's something missing. It lacks that fluidity of movement that we saw in Call of Duty 4 and Black Ops 2. The weapons feel a little bit more wild when it comes to the handling and require a little bit more effort to keep them on target. The shots to kill is crazy low, a few bullets in your feet and it will bring you down. I'm sure that some people will claim that more effort means more skill and that equals a better game. But nah. I'm more of the camp that believes that Call of Duty is all about the fast arcade action, and messing with that weapon handling just seems to slow down long range engagements and turns the close range fights into pretty much a hold and hope situation. One of the systems that I'm still not 100% behind is the new perk and unlock system. Don't get me wrong, I find this really kind of interesting. I did used to hate having to play for ages to unlock something that I wanted from the very start. However, I do wonder if this will affect people's long-term interest, as one of the coolest things in any COD game is the ability to work your way up the ranks and get that stuff that you really wanted. And it also meant that you was forced to basically slowly upgrade over time through each prestige and try out new equipment. This way is definitely more direct. However, there is such a thing as being a little bit too direct. The Pointstreak system is still the most frustrating thing ever. The new attack dog is my personal favourite, yet most hated streak of all time. Have a dog follow you, avenge you, defend you and kill for you. It's a cool concept, but these dogs take quite a few hits to bring down, and their movement is very buggy to say the least. Sometimes you can have a dog survive the whole match and get you a dozen kills simply by having it stick around the highly populated areas, one-shotting enemies. Or you can have the useless dog. This just so happens to be the dog that I get the most. The one which finds a ledge and just jumps up and down and up and down and up and down, up and down, up and down, attacking nothing before getting shot and wasting all my hard work. Dang it, dog! As the game is still new, I lack some experience with the other Killstreaks, but I can already tell you, I am not excited for them whatsoever. To me, streaks have always been my biggest frustration in any Call of Duty game, and I am already doubting that Call of Duty Ghost is going to do anything to change that. In reflection, I do think that my overall opinion of the gameplay would be changed if I could get rid of that horrible mouse acceleration, uncap the frame rate, get some better performance, give myself a better FOV. Alas, you know, we're gonna have to wait and see. Anyway, to the game modes. Personally, I play Call of Duty for Domination, though I have to admit I pretty much did fall in love with Hardpoint from Black Ops 2. Domination now seems to have had its flag radius reduced, not confirming this is just my opinion, and it kind of feels like every single flag on every single map has 3 or 4 entrances to defend, which is great for the attackers and not so great for defending. I know that it's only day 1 and I haven't played too much of the game, but right now it definitely feels like the way to win Domination is run from A, B to C and just hope that you are capping the flags faster than the enemy are recapping them. There definitely seems to be less of a spawn trap mentality, and this is mainly due to the maps being much wider than they were long in previous Call of Duties. The mode that I'm actually enjoying the most is Crank. Crank is a new game mode which is based on the TDM formula, except this time every time you get a kill, you get cranked up. And this basically just boosts your abilities for 30 seconds. Bear in mind, if you do not get a kill within these 30 seconds, you will literally just explode. This can be a lot of fun when you're on a decent streak and cranking up a lot, but it can also be a nightmare when you're on the losing team, because when all the enemy are cranked up and you're not, you're at a massive disadvantage and you will find it kind of landslide over time. Something else I want to point out with Cranked is that while you are cranked up, you actually get double XP, which means you can really rack up them points and level up rather quickly while playing Cranked. So if you are looking to level up as fast as humanly possible and get to that prestige, I would definitely recommend using Cranked as the main game mode to do that. One of the biggest surprises when it comes to game modes is the lack of search and destroy. You know, the typical Counter-Strike style, go to this place, plant a bomb and hope it explodes before the enemy defuses. Yeah, that's kind of gone. It has been replaced by a mode called Search and Rescue, which is effectively the same in many respects. Apart from this time, when you die, you drop your tags, and if your tags are picked up by your friendlies, then you get to respawn and rejoin the action. If they are collected by an enemy, however, that's it, you're out for the count. The other modes, while cool, are also pretty generic and nothing to really scream home about. I think the biggest issue with these modes is not actually the modes themselves, it's the maps. The maps are much more complex than they have ever been in a Call of Duty game and kind of feel like they are just filled to the rafters with tiny little hiding spots, at the same time as having these really long range engagements. Sure, this means it's not all SMG warfare like it was back in Black Ops 2, but it does mean that a lot of people playing the game just seem to find their tiny little hidey hole and stick to it. Also, there seems to be an awful lot of corners for a game which has got a native FOV of 65, meaning that you will often get shot from the left or the right from mere feet away and they will still be out of sight. My biggest concern is the lack of killer maps. You know, the maps that you remember for years to come? This game certainly does not have no DE, Dust, Camping Grounds, Dust Bowl, Nuketown or Deck 16. Each map, while being quite varied in style, still manages to feel really generic. Almost like Infinity Ward told their mappers to go out and make the best looking maps they can, without putting any real focus on what the map should actually do. All in all, I believe that Call of Duty Ghosts has got the worst maps of any Call of Duty to date, and that's a real shame. Okay, so let's talk about Extinction really quickly. Extinction is effectively Infinity Ward's version of zombies from Treyarch. And in all fairness, I think that there are some really cool ideas in here. However, they're not executed all that well. I mean, mainly because this mode struggles with the FPS more than any other mode in the game, and after the first few sections, I am struggling to hold 30 FPS at points, and that is really disappointing. The whole idea is pretty much the same as zombies, as in you start off, you earn cash by making kills, and then you slowly progress through the level by breaking down barriers, and you fight these crazy little alien things and hopefully have quite a bit of fun while buying new weapons. You can also upgrade your skills while playing, and personally I think Extinction would be a great addition if they got it running really well. And I don't know, to be honest, it's quite samey as zombies, but I think it lacks that zombie charm that Treyarch put in. So even though it is much better than what we normally get from an Infinity Ward game as an add-on, I am not convinced it's going to be a zombie killer in any way, shape or form. But it may give the zombie fans a little bit of something to do over the next year while we wait for Treyarch's next entry into the series. Okay guys, so here's my verdict. Call of Duty Ghost is possibly the worst Call of Duty to date. I know that it's going towards next gen and it's got some interesting ideas, but it all seems to be executed quite sloppily. And on top of that, this has got to be one of the worst PC ports of a AAA game that has been released this year, if not this decade. Sure, there have been worse, but this is pretty bad. I mean, the lack of dedicated servers, the fact that you can't have any overlay software running if you don't want it to totally mess up your game, you cannot alt-tab out of gameplay, you've got an FPS lock at 90 FPS, which, even though is quite low, the optimization means that you're barely ever going to be able to hit it anyway if you're playing on any decently high settings. You can't see your ping in the server browser or while you're actually playing the game. I don't believe there are dedicated servers, but I will leave that for somebody else to confirm, because luckily I've not had any host migrations yet myself. The game just doesn't feel that good. The really low field of view spoils it for me, because I don't suffer from motion sickness, but I do get frustrated whenever I die from somebody who's 2 feet to my left, which I can't see because I've just got no peripheral vision whatsoever. I was really kind of looking forward to this game after playing Black Ops 2 last year, because Black Ops 2 was one of the better Call of Duties ever, in my honest opinion. I know a lot of people dislike Black Ops 2 for a lot of reasons, but the gunplay was satisfying and the gameplay was fluid and smooth. I could hold 200 FPS constantly on Black Ops 2, and to be honest, I don't think that the graphical improvements in Call of Duty Ghost justify this massive frame drop. In many places, I am actually getting worse performance than playing Battlefield 4 on ultra settings, and let's be honest, the visuals do not even compare. The single player campaign will give you quite a bit of action, so if you're looking for just a quick blast, it might be worth it. But if that's the case, it's only 4.5 hours long. I would not recommend paying $60 or £40 depending on what platform you're getting it on just for the single player alone. I have never been this disappointed for a game that I have been this excited for. I could definitely not recommend anyone go out and get this game right now in its current state. I don't know if they will make improvements over time. If they don't, I pretty much do believe that Infinity Ward may just have totally screwed over their PC base and following fully, and this may be something they will never recover from. If you're looking for a good first-person shooter, go and pick up Battlefield 4, or go and wait for the real Infinity Ward. The Infinity Ward that brought us Call of Duty 4 to release Titanfall. If you want me to give this game an obligatory score, then so be it. It's a 2 out of 5. I am Pixel, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. It's taken me quite a long time to make, so I would appreciate a nice big fat thumbs up if you did enjoy it. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to slap that subscribe button for some more PC gaming goodness. And I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace out and bye-bye.